G'day, happy Sunday. Here we are with another random spiel of information relating to abstinence, recovery, and just carrying on with this new journey, which I started putting videos out into the World Wide Web. Just a quick recap. Last week I did a video on the stages of change, where you might be at. Contemplation, pre-contemplation, action, maintenance, etc, etc. So today I kind of just wanted to follow on from that and just kind of get a bit creative and basically just say that if you have contemplated and you're ready to rock and roll, you don't need to go into a medical detox, or you just want to stop drinking, taking drugs, whatever, and that's it. You've stopped. Like, I'm going to quit. I need to quit for health reasons, relationship reasons, whatever. So we're going to talk today about the recovery cycle and kind of what to expect, maybe, because a lot of people look. Every rehab, every recovery journey is different. I believe it's all individual. Yes, there's similarities which people will express and share and discuss, but at the end of the day, everyone is different. From their psychological profile, from their pre-existing mental health, current mental health. There's so many variables to that. So I believe everyone's recovery is different and independent. So, but there is things which you can expect. So when we think of the recovery cycle, what we're looking at is like a time frame, and it all depends on how long even using substances. At the end of the day, they're coping strategies, right? We've developed this addiction through various reasons, but it's to cope. It's to help us get through different things. There's different triggers which set us off, but that substance, that drink, that weed, that gear, whatever, that's what we're hooked on it. We need it to help us feel better and to get through certain problems. So let's just say we've stopped. Okay, so we're looking at stage 1, which is the withdrawal phase. So about day 1 to about 14, 15 days, your body's going to start withdrawing. Going to get rid of all the toxins in your body. It's doing its thing. It's probably going to feel quite, internally it's quite good because you're not flooding it with toxins, but it's going to be hard. First day to 14 days, 2 weeks is we are detoxifying, so we're going to have cravings. We're going to be irritable as fuck, like taken away, especially if you're a daily user. You're going to be irritable. You might have sleep problems, paranoia, irritable cravings, stuff like that. But that's just it's just an honest thing to expect for the first 2 weeks. So it's not going to be sunshine and butterflies. You've been using your substance for a fair while, so you start to take that out. It's going to be consequences of withdrawal. So obviously there's potential for relapse, but majority of the time, however, the first 2 weeks relapse is pretty high. So that's where, if you are going to plan abstinence and you are going to quit, go back to the stage of change, make an action plan, structure, maintenance, having a squad, a team behind you, family members, loved ones, medical professionals, depending on your severity of use, addiction, and how you plan to do this. So withdrawal is stage 1. That's first day to, let's say, 14 or 15 days. Stage 2 is called the honeymoon phase. Yay, everything's ripper. Okay, so that's early absence, say day 15 to day 45. We start to feel pretty powerful, I'm beating this, I haven't used for 15 days, 30 days, up to 40 days, like there's a lot of confidence, a lot of just internal, I take self-pride, like you really feel like you're getting on top of your addiction problem. You get waves of emotion. You might become very emotional. It can be a release of a lot of stored trauma, emotional dysregulation. Lots of shit can come up in that time. So just be mindful to have some good support around you. You can become very emotional without even realizing it. So it is a challenging time, but it's called the honeymoon phase. So you're going to have episodes of massive joy, power, confidence. I've got this, man. I'm on top of this. But it's an opportunity for relapse. With the honeymoon phase, for example, you might feel like, oh, I'm on top of this, I got this. So go to a party. No, I won't drink tonight, but you're surrounded by drinkers. Oh, I can only have one, I'll be right. Bang, you know. I'm not saying this for everyone, but a lot of people are all or nothing. So that one beer could turn into 20, and then that's your night over. Then you've lapsed. Sorry, not relapsed. So then we look at stage 3, which is can be known as the wall. So that's like 45 days to 120 days, getting nearer to the 120 days. So it's like in a marathon. People hit the wall. They just can't go any further. They can't do any more. Something's shut. The body's shut down. They're over it. They're stuck. This is often the hardest stage that people will experience. They've done so much hard work to get to, say, 120 days, 120 days, day by day, you know, focusing on their goals, their reasons for not using a substance. So much internal work which people don't realize. So much exhaustion in your brain, overcoming triggers, overcoming day-to-day issues which you used to cope with by using. Simple as that. This stage you can start to feel really dysregulated. Anger, irritability, depression, anxiety, boredom is a massive factor. You're 120 days in, let's say, a few months in, and your life is, you're sober. Everything that you knew, or your identity prior to this moment, was around the substance use. You know, weekends were partying, weekends were socializing, weekends were doing this. Now you're not that person. So you're kind of learning how to be a new person, again, depending on how long you've used for. So boredom is a huge thing. And I think a lot of people underestimate how dangerous that can be. Boredom can lead into a lot of overthinking, really going down that rabbit hole of depression and anxiety and negative thoughts, negative self-thoughts. So I just want to share that I think the boredom aspect is really important to if you can, be aware of and to observe. I'm just looking at a few notes I made. Sometimes at this phase we feel defeated. We've put all this hard work in. Like, you know, our body might be looking different. We might be feeling better, but mentally it's like, what's going on? I feel shit, you know, like this is so boring. I'm putting in, you know, you might stop seeing physical changes in your body. It's just a really challenging phase. So if you are going on this journey, the stage 3, which is, say, like 45 days to 120 days, is known or considered as one of the most difficult, challenging phases, because there's a massive potential for relapse and lapse, because it's very challenging. So if you can get to the wall and you start to feel that maybe the foundations have got a few cracks in, you're aware that this is a challenging phase, this is time to be speaking to your network, time to be checking in with people, time to be if you are on a medical intervention, speak to your professionals. Maybe the medication needs a tweak. Maybe your counsellor, if you're in with a counsellor or psychologist, they need to know how you're feeling. They need to know that you're struggling, but you want to get past this. So what I'm trying to do is just give an insight in terms of what to expect, especially when you're going through the honeymoon phase, when you feel the strength, the joy, the power, this internal power of like, fuck, I'm beating this addiction, I'm doing so well. And then comes the wall where you start to doubt yourself, you start to doubt your capabilities, you start to doubt your kind of life. What does my future look like? It's unknown, because all I've done for the last X amount of years is get pissed up at the weekend, or just examples of some of the thoughts that can happen. But if we look past that and we get through the wall and we get through that really difficult challenge and phase, we start looking at resolution. So obviously we're going to try and resolve some of those thoughts. We're going to try and more than likely have a different outlook. We're going to start to approach things differently. Certain triggers that, triggering environments which we may have ignored, or not gone to during those previous phases, we might be able to now approach them. So in the past, I've worked with people that are remaining absent from alcohol. They can't go into a bottle shop. They simply can't. It's too triggering. So that's an example of some of the strategies you have to put in place. You might have to not go to birthday parties. You might not have to go to something, because in the Western world, the world we live in, drugs and alcohol everywhere. We know that. So the adjustment phase it can still really look at like boredom, but we're going to try and adjust to how we feel. We're kind of adjusting to our new identity, our new perception. But again, there's potential relapse factors. A lot of emotion can start to come up, which we might have suppressed for years and years and years. Underlying mental health conditions could, start to emerge. It's about acceptance as well. A big part of it is accepting that, okay, look, I do have a problem, and maybe this is my new life, this is my new identity, and it's about trying to accept that. And with that comes this internal kind of battle, this mental battle of like, who am I now versus who was I? So sometimes there can be this dialogue in your head, this narrative of like almost a question mark, what the fuck? Who was I? Who am I? But it's about trying to work on your internal narrative about, the self-pride of I've got to 140 days, 150 days. You're doing tremendously well, and hopefully people in your circle are going to be reinforcing that with you. With the adjustment phase, sorry, I think I got that wrong. It's the adjustment phase. Resolutions after that. Adjustment phase is at day 120 to 180. So that's where we need to adjust. That's what I meant. Adjust our strategies, our goals, our direction. We might need to start new habits, get a gym membership going. I don't know, whatever works for you, whatever you can afford, whatever's in your capacity to reintroduce positive things to help you get through this time. So then we're going to be looking at resolution after 180 days. Resolution is really important about resolving a lot of deep, maybe trauma, resolving current issues, relationship issues. I think I'll leave resolution there because it's a bit more in depth, and I really wanted to focus on the first 4, which is the withdrawal, the honeymoon phase, the wall, and then the adjustment phase. So I'll leave it there with that. But I wanted to also touch on the 4 Ds. If you can remember this out of anything that I've rambled on about, that'd be really helpful. So 4 Ds. So what we're thinking is, okay, so you've quit the substance, you are going through this ridiculous journey that we go on. It's full of ups and downs, lows and highs, and just like a roller coaster. So cravings come and go. I'm going to do another video on cravings and something called urge surfing, and cravings come like waves on a beach. They come, they build, they crash, and then they come and build and crash. So they don't last forever, but they're a pain in the ass and they're not very nice. So the 4 Ds, okay? Delay, which is if you can delay the acts of craving. So what we're trying to do is when cravings comes, we need to delay the cravings. We need to delay the intensity of them. So what can we do? Keep ourselves distracted, go for a drive, really anything you can do which stops these cravings. Friday night comes, bang, I want to have a beer. Craving kicks your ass. Well, what can I do? Well, I need to go out, I'll go for a drive, go to Bunnings, go to do something. Cravings can last a while, but generally they're quite short-lived. So depending on obviously the substance you're using, cravings can come and go, and they can really fuck with your head, and they can really test you, especially in the early days. They can just completely really push you far. So we want to delay the cravings, okay? So as cliche as it is, breath work can be a lifesaver. Go into a spare room, go into a quiet space, close your eyes and just breathe deeply. Breathe through that. It's all in your head. We're talking about obviously psychological cravings, assuming you've withdrawn and everything. Hopefully not too many physical cravings, but just breathe, do breath work, take it nice and slow, bang on some music. It sounds really basic, really dumb, but some of this stuff can help disrupt a cycle of cravings and the intensity of cravings. We're going to distract ourselves from the craving. So we're going to delay the craving, we're going to deep breathe, do some breath work, and then we're going to distract ourselves from the craving. So again, that might be spending time with family, making a phone call, music, anything you can to distract your cognitive thinking of that craving, your obsession, that pain in the ass. I want a drink, I want a drug, I want to use, it's going to make me feel better. Silence those voices, So we're going to distract ourselves. And then the fourth D is kind of just positive reinforcement. CBT kind of Cognitive behavioral therapy is decide to stay in recovery. So telling yourself, right, a craving's come, I've beaten it, I'm staying in recovery, I decide to recover, I decide to stay abstinent, I'm deciding to make this choice. Simple kind of cognitive behavioral therapy, positive reinforcement. Yeah, it's hard. Cravings are powerful things, they're incredible. Once you get further along this journey, you start to just, your mind's blown about like what the body does, what the mind does. So I've kind of covered a few things today. I'm really hopeful that someone is getting some benefit from these. I've had a bit of feedback which has been positive, that this is helping a couple of people I know, so I'm enjoying doing them. So I'm going to continue on just covering different topics. It is weird talking to a phone and then putting it out into the World Wide Web, but we've got to try these things, eh? So peace out on this Sober Sunday. Wish you all the best. Any questions, any issues, any feedback, positive, negative, please let us know. I'm not perfect. I don't get everything right. I don't speak clinically, but I know what I know and I try and get it out the best way I can. So happy Sunday wherever you are. Be safe. Try your best to stick to your goals. If you start to struggle, reach out. You can't, don't do this alone. There's people there to help you. Whatever you need to do to get your objectives and your goals achieved, just do it, as long as it's healthy. And let's see what the week brings. Happy Sunday, Sober Sunday. Peace.